right, let me call the meeting to order. So, okay, I am now calling the meeting to order. It is 9:59 on August 18th, 2026. This is the Council of Aging Board meeting, and we are being recorded by Area 58, and I would ask us all to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So I put on the agenda approval of the May 19th minutes, but I got last night, they have been approved at the last meeting. So I approved, so those have been approved, so we don't have to do that. And then approval of the June 16th minutes. And I will tell you, I'm having a very difficult time going back to the recordings and trying to do the minutes. It is really time consuming. I don't have the time to do that right now. So again, I don't have those June minutes. I know they're all in the recording, so I will get to that. I'm gonna try to sit down when I go home today and do some more minutes. But then, once I get the minutes and I do that, then it's a whole big process to try to print them out, and I have to go to the library and coordinate with those hours, and so I'm really having a hard time with the minutes. And I did have a thought last night, because I was watching one of the building committee meetings, and they hired somebody to do the minutes.
Really?
So, I think because somebody was taking the minutes at the building committee, and she wasn't on the building committee.
Was she a volunteer?
I don't know. So I think I would like to look into the COA hiring, but we would have to have the money for that. And I don't know if that could, if I could pursue something like that, if that could come out of capital funds, if that could come out of your wages. Do you have any thoughts on
Yeah, if we could get, so here's the deal. We could probably, if we brought back an admin person, an administrative associate who has those backgrounds, the background in terms of being able to take notes, being able to Word doc, understands how to use all those, and is really well versed in the 21st century. I think we could have that person sit in with us, and it'd be paid.
Okay.
That's how we could do it.
Okay, but we have to wait for you to hire a...
Correct. I'm just going through a little bit of a process, which we talked about.
We will, we can talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I just thought that, I'm trying to chair the meeting, and, I'm trying to manage everything else, and it's just, and then to watch those recordings, it's just really, I mean, darling, you've done it. It is really painful to watch those recordings and be writing down this and then stopping that, and I know Steve had told me to do the transcript thing.
Yes, this transcript, you can do that.
But I didn't do that on my Mac. I didn't find any of those buttons, so.
So what you can do.
Either I sit down with somebody and do a complete training on how to take minutes, but I can't take the minutes like this. It's just crazy.
So with that type of thing, I just noticed that it was actually downloaded. So when you do a recording, you can do a transcript of the recording and what's being said. And then you can do that A1 Copilot, and the A1 Copilot could actually translate it into, cut it down and put it into. It can summarize.
Do you know how to do that?
Yes, I do that often. So I do know how to do that, but I just saw that recordings could do that. I saw it the last. Somebody else, so I saw that it was part of that. I think it has to be, when they set it up, it has to be one of those things there, you click off and it sets it up for it. I don't know behind the software of it, but I know that it can happen. So let's do this. I'll take the June meetings, because what I do is I get at nighttime, that's what I'll do, all the stuff that, this little stuff, piddly stuff like that, I'll sit with a cup of coffee and I'll do the minutes of the meeting. So I'll do the
Okay.
Junes for you, if you take that off your shelf, because you're doing not only chairing, but you're also being the secretary. So we've got to take that into consideration. It's
Right.
a lot, because you're in that position where you have a life and it's volunteer.
Right.
So I totally understand that, and I appreciate everything that you've done so far with chairing. You've been amazing. So let me, if you would allow me to just do the
Okay.
June, okay?
Okay, I'm not gonna try to
I'll
take
do it,
notes,
I'll do
but, because it's really hard to pay attention to the meeting
Yeah,
and share and
it's
take
good.
notes. And I think it is,
I'll do it.
like,
If you don't mind.
okay, yeah, I think,
That's good, all good.
but I think I would like to look into, but I don't know if you would have the money. You said if, once we hire an admin.
Yeah, well, I'll see what we can, and have to be within fit the job description as well, because it's a union
Right.
position.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
But I think it's pretty simple today. I gotta go back and look again, because that was the possibility of looking at the job description as it is, based on the fact it was 40 hours, now they're going down to 20 hours, and they have to calculate out the hourly wage for that individual.
So would you mind
So-
if I reached out to somebody, like the selectmen, and asked what the process would be? I mean, maybe that can come
Well-
out of like a selectman's budget or something like that.
I'll run it by them if you don't mind. So then
Okay,
that way
that's
there, I think, let me just have that, flow, and then I'll report back to the board,
Okay,
if I could.
yeah, try
Okay.
to have that for the next meeting, if you could
But if
just
we
talk
can
to
find a
them. because-
volunteer that would do it until you get all that stuff all straightened
Well,
out.
that's all right, let's, let's
that
talk about,
possibility?
let's just do one thing.
Is that a possibility?
No, let's
Yeah.
do one
So
thing at
let's-
a time, yeah, I
So
agree
let's
soundly.
just, so you established this particular issue.
Yes,
So let's then find a solution, and
Right.
I'll propose a couple of different solutions that might fit.
okay.
Okay.
My question is, we have to be,
Someone trying
we
to
have to go
resolve
through the
it.
query check and all that. So if you've got somebody in just to take the minute, should they be sitting in on meetings? And especially
Yeah,
if we have private business?
But actually, let's just open, because it's on recording, so therefore it's open public,
Okay.
open to the public.
Okay.
So if it was executive session, then of course it's different.
Okay,
Yeah.
But it's not executive sessions, we're open to the public.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. Just don't tell your personal business. And write notes.
Well, maybe then I misunderstood.
But,
That's the last time when we spoke with the selectmen, they said for the council of the aging, there was a hiring freeze on.
no, there was prior to the July 1st. Yep. Prior to July 1st, 2026, yeah, there was a hiring freeze, correct.
But then the override passed,
But then,
yeah.
but then that was what was stated. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay, so budget update?
Oh, so we have the transportation, this is the yellow one, and I'll take the one. So basically what I'll do is get the budget, and I have to propose the budget, what we have in our budget sheet. This is, we've taken transportation funding, so when we drive someone somewhere, a senior in our minivan or whatever, that we charge a fee. And that fee goes into a revolving account, meaning that it carries over from year to year. So it's always going to be fluid. It's not going to go away and we have to give it back. It's going to be fluid. So at this point, we are showing that we have $12,046.20 at this point. It's a collection of just the fees that we collect. And below, I tried to summarize it in one page because I didn't want to use a lot of paper. But down below, you'll see the gifts and activities on the same page as the transportation.
Yeah,
And right then, at that point, the gifts and activities revolving account is all the money we collect from the fitness classes that we have. And then we also take into consideration any donations that are presented to us. We put it in, it's the same thing, it's a revolving account, it carries over year to year, and that it's always fluid. And that money is a collection of a lot of, anything that we collect for fitness, anything we collect for, even if I collect money to have a dinner, you know, that'll go into the gifts and activity. So what I do is I take in the gifts and activity and I pay the instructors out of that too. So if the instructor hands me a bill for $50 and there's 3 people in the class who charge $5, I deposit the $15 in here, but then I still have to pay her the $50 or him the $50 or whatever they charge at that point. And that's the way it is, you know. So we like to make sure that we get enough people in there. Sometimes we like to see 25 people and then at $5, you know, per person. And we also, I try to remind the seniors too at the end of the year that they can get a printout of their activities and they could apply it towards their health care plan. And they could get reimbursed up to $250 to $350 by their health care. So provided, depending on what they're on, Medicare Advantage plan. So always ask, I'll remind them at the end of the year, hey, you can get a rundown of what you spent if you got to a fitness class, because then if you show that you Silver Sneakers or whatever program that's your insurance company sponsors, I know Blue Cross Blue Shield does have that program, that they would reimburse you if you just submit the paperwork to them. So, so that's a cool thing.
Can I ask a question on gift and activities? Is there any like state money or like,
Nope.
this is just all from donations
Yeah.
and classes? And
Yeah, just that's all it is. It's, like I said, and then in the past couple of times, our yoga class was suspended for the summer because it was low turnout. And so with a low turnout, I have to make a decision, and that decision is, okay, let's push it off. Everybody's on vacation. Things are happening in people's lives, so let's just push it off to, you know, September, the fall, or the early part of September. So we suspended the yoga classes, and in some cases, I let it go because the yoga classes, there may have been nobody in there, you know, because we didn't collect any funds either, you know. So it might be like gaps in some of these things. It's only because of the fact that we either were trying to beef up the class and we say, okay, free class today. And then, or if we didn't offer a free class, then somebody didn't show or there wasn't hardly any participation. Same thing with fitness. On Mondays, our cardio fitness is a little bit, the volume is low as well. But it's because, you know, people are on vacation and things are happening. So we figure that's going to be continuing because we still have about 5 people in that class, you know, that are going. And of course, the room size is a difference too. We have to keep it under a certain number of people because of the room size. And Full Purpose has been outstanding in terms of allowing us the space to have their you know, to have these fitness classes. And the other class is Zumba, which is being held on Fridays here. We suspended that because the Zumba, we had a lot of different things to change. Of course, the Fridays were closed and so on. And then now we're back to a semblance of some order, and that is that we are going to offer the Zumba class again. But she's on vacation for the month of September, so she's going to come back in October. So that will be pushed out to October. And plus, we're going to be talking about programs, and I'll get into the next thing, but we're going to be offering 2 more extra programs, activities, I should say, fitness activities, and that is a Tai Chi class, to Sole Purpose, and then we're thinking that we may even consider offering a drum class. So we're just trying to see how we can fit that in so that we have participation. Because I know people have other things going on in their lives, and because everybody's like, don't schedule anything on Thursdays, I bowl. But I can't
Yeah,
always.
you can't do that.
Yeah. So, I mean, not everybody's bowling on a Thursday, but some do. But, so we're trying to increase the volume. I think what's the hard part of all our fitness classes is being able to have one place to go out to the community space and just do your thing. It's like, it's hard to coordinate and have these classes and then have limited. Oh, what if we had 11 or 12 people? We wouldn't be able to fit enough people in there comfortably to do that. So, you know, our volume is low because of a lot of different factors,
Yes.
you know. So I just want to make that a point.
On the transportation revolving account, can all of these expenses, do they now come out of your GATRA funding?
No, so when we have, yeah, some of the stuff will, sometimes it won't, but we
Okay.
made the decision, because I was bringing in reimbursement funds through a GATRA account. What is GATRA? GATRA is a federally sponsored program, and then it's offered through OCPC, Old Colony Planning Council, which then translates out to the community. And what they want to do is make it us age-friendly and be able to have access to transportation. As we know, a lot of the seniors today may have either be just out of rehab or their hospitals or something like that, and not being able to drive to get to medical appointments. So their transportation is a very important factor for socialization as well. And with that, it's a very vital part of when I came here, I've never had a van. We've never had it in other centers where we actually were going into Boston, where we were picking up people at rehabs after they get out, and I'm like, we had to kind of reel it in and make policies and so on. But we emphasized the fact of transportation was very vital to our senior community here. So I paid attention to that, and knowing that there was going to be reimbursements and this federal program was available to us, I said, you know, is there a possibility in 2023, I proposed that when we had the new town administrator come in, if we could offer the GATRA, and that was in 2023. And so he looked into it and the contracts and so on, because it worked in other towns. And what that meant, and I didn't realize either, because I thought we would get a van automatically, because we needed to have access to another van. But I said, oh, great, we'll get a van out of this, but that's not how it works. So I learned that afterward. But that wasn't my decision to have the GATRA. It was a decision between the Board of Selectmen as well as the town administrator at the time. Whether or not Finance Committee was supposed to be involved, I don't know, because I'm not the decision maker for that. All I did was propose the fact of trying to provide transportation to our senior population. So in 2023, that became that, and that also reimbursed for the fuel and any it reimbursed for the cell phones that they use on the phone for the van drivers. It also reimbursed for the insurance of the 3 vehicles that are out there. And it's monthly. So I bill monthly to this federal program. We then in turn get a check. It could be between, and also I have to show what we bring in for.
But that's going into a separate account.
Yeah, it goes
correct?
into it has to.
Right.
And that is part of the contract, that we have to provide van driver services. But what had happened, 2023 came fast forward, it takes a while when you submit the reimbursement, you have to provide verification of everything. The wages it even pays the wages for me, half of my salary, a portion of my salary, a third at the time, but now it's half of my salary. And then it also reimburses the admin's person that was full-time, reimbursed that person's salary. And it also reimbursed all the wages for the van drivers, hourly wage, I should say. So when I submit the bill, I have to provide all this documentation with signatures and so on. They go through it with the fine-tooth comb. They kick out a check for us. It could be for $5,500. It could be for $6,500. It could be for $7,200. But it's usually around that time. It's between 55 to 72 each month since 2023 of April. So we've collected $164,000 at this point in that GATRA account, which in fact, in July 10th of 2025, it was the interim town administrator approached him and said, we need to have that money in a separate account. Mm-hmm. So he said absolutely, and he was able to get that done. And that was on July 10th of 2025. So that money has been sitting in an account. Apparently, I didn't realize, and it's not my responsibility to make sure that it goes to the Finance Committee to know this too, but apparently that wasn't all visible. I don't know what the situation is. All I'm just trying to figure out is that I need vans, and it's getting paid, and my wages, I have to have wages or reimbursement for.
So, but moving forward, that account's been set up and you can take all of this
That-
out of GATRA now?
Yeah, so if in fact, little things like dishwashing, windshield washing, what did I put, wash field?
Field washer. I love it.
It's like whatever
Okay.
comes up. So the little store for $16, I'll just take it out of that account or something,
Right.
once in a blue moon. But usually the inspection stickers, the cleaning of the vans need to be done on a monthly basis. But we we don't always use all the vans the same as we do as the minivan.
But
So-
going forward, this is
Yeah.
gonna help you because you can take all that
So,
money out
yeah,
of the
they,
GATRA funding.
and I can take that and, yes. So the GATRA funds pays for a lot of our transportation for the seniors and the way we maintain it and so on. Eventually, at some point, maybe we will end up with a GATRA van. I don't know what the process is, but if we get a town administrator that's well-versed in that, GATRAs and been there, done that, we can figure out how they got the vans in these other towns. I
Right.
know you've already probably seen them where they have the GATRAs written on the side of
have.
them.
Yeah,
So I was like, oh, I'd love to have that for us, even just one. That would be great, because it would replace the 2013 van that we have now. That is really, we need to really think about, sending that to the,
but going forward, it should alleviate some of the issues with the,
a lot.
yes.
So we were close, I just I deposited another check for almost $13,000.
Great.
And so now it's 164 plus the 13.
And you're free
And
to
then I
just,
billed.
to use that money.
Yep, and I billed another 24 that I'm waiting for,
Oh, good,
yeah.
okay.
So I just gotta, wait for them to reimburse. But the thing is funding there, it's helping the town, because it's not coming out, the wage is not coming out of wage and personnel to pay the van driver. So we just put an ad out for a second van driver, thank goodness. And we we have a new process too. I'm getting these random emails, but I don't want to open them because I don't recognize them because I didn't know. But the only way I knew it was having to do with somebody putting filling the application online.
Yep,
So you can fill the application, online instead of on paper. But then it generates like some kind of an email, like info at something. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to open it because I didn't know that we were doing it. The only way I knew was doing it, some senior came in to apply, and we did it together, and it came up, and I was like, oh, so I opened it up, and there was his application, and I said, oh, that's where that other one came in. So we have two people that have applied for the van driver's position, so I'll circle back to them and interview them at some point. So hopefully we'll get something to help out with, because Janice has been.
and those funds will come out of GATRA.
Absolutely, yeah.
Perfect.
Yep, so this revolving account here, that's called Farebox money, they call it Farebox. And when I submit that, I have to submit what we collected, it subtracts it from the amount that they would have issued us for. So if we were using their passes, then it's different, but we get reimbursed for the money, but then this is deducted because it's it's a debit against what we actually, because it's a collection of money that we collected. And it's not a lot, sometimes it's only $70, sometimes it's $150, depending on what we collect for the transportation that month. It could go up and down. September seems to be the busiest. And of course, what hurt us, what happened to us is what hurt us. And then people were like, all right, what days can I go to the doctors? I'm like, so they had to find out what we had for
Yeah.
availability, which was only a Tuesday and a Wednesday that our driver could only drive. And they had to call up the doctor's office and try to get their appointments only on Tuesdays, Wednesdays. So that doesn't always happen these days.
Yeah,
with
that's too bad.
Yeah, so now hopefully this will open it up that we'll be able to add that Thursday or add, just make shopping just for a Friday shopping day down to Walmart or Market Basket or something. And you'll see in most towns, they have like a day of shopping. And then they'll
Yeah.
have all their medical appointments on these other days. We've been trying to mix and mingle them And, you know, I have Janice going into the same area to a doctor's appointment, and then doing that, but then dropping people off at the grocery store, and then going back to pick the person up at the doctor's office. And that's the only way we had to do it. It's a lot of work. Plus, all the mileage has to be recorded, and all the gas and all that stuff. And it has to be entered in. I have to show the mileage, everything. It's very detailed. But in the end, it's worth it to the town. And that's why I'm doing it. I think it's an
Right.
advantageous thing. And for the finance committee to question it, I think it's a good thing, but I also realize that they're not even asking the people that do it as to why it's being done. And the reason is it's a proper, it's a community thing for our senior population, but also too, it takes the burden off the town in terms of financing. You know, they're not financing these things. If we didn't have it, they would be financing the gas. They wouldn't get reimbursed for that. They wouldn't be having this extra funding.
Well, I appreciate your understanding of all of this, and you're right, you obviously have a great handle on it, and obviously explaining it very well. So I appreciate that, but I'm always going to be asking questions because I'm
That's
really
good.
trying to understand.
I want you to. I think it's
But
good.
I know that you understand this, but I'm just trying to understand it.
That's
So,
good. I'd rather have the questions than people talking about it and then making
Right.
things up.
yeah.
You know,
And
like-
John, did you have something to?
Yeah, my first thing is, because I'm ignorant and Polish,
No.
is there any
no.
way you can put titles on the top of the column so that I know what they relate to?
No, because the pages, see if I do that, this is what we end up with, a long detailed sheet. So I try to summarize it like that because I had
No,
to make it.
it's fine the way it's summarized, just even on these, it doesn't say what's in, what's out, what the different monies are for.
Yeah, nope, it's correct. But here,
So I might as well not even get a report, because it doesn't mean anything to me, because I can't evaluate what it says or what it's
but
doing.
I'm gonna ask, yeah, I understand that totally because I'm pretty tuned into that kind of stuff. And I knew that that's what that meant, so I figured I'd explain it to you because personally, I'm doing this at nighttime and I didn't have time to write everything in. But technically, if you were to do the Excel spreadsheet and make a copy of it, it comes out too tiny. And I know I have problems with visuals sometimes to read it, so I thought, you know what, if I blow it up, put it into a Word doc, it might come out a little bit better, and I can just explain it. All this column, the first column where it says $6, that's the reimbursement, that's the money coming in.
So just put that on your on the column, just put
Yep.
reimbursement.
Yep, I know that,
Um,
I understand that.
No, I'm
Yeah.
Totally, John.
on at a meeting.
So-
You
so
can just
that's your
put
revenue.
reimbursement. I understand where Darlene's coming from with the, you know, with the computer and the Word and trying to
this
make a
is-
document and
this is
things
your
like
revenue.
that. It can be very time consuming. So at a meeting, if you have a question, what's this
Yeah.
column, you can
So-
just write it in.
Column, the first column is revenue.
Yeah, to
always
me, it's
revenue.
in and out.
Yep.
That's how I look
I
at it.
love
Thank
it.
you, revenue,
In,
yep,
In,
and that's what went out.
out.
and then.
And John can understand that.
Okay,
You got
35.
the in and out,
So
John, you
in-
know.
Okay, however, if we go down to gifts and activity, where we got so much stuff coming in, we don't have always a lot of stuff going out. So we have the actual total. So if I continue to add up, it's just adding it. Because we don't have a lot of, stuff going out, in that account.
Okay, so the
Over-
first column is in, and the second column is just a total.
Total, for the.
And you
for that
don't,
one.
for the gifts and activities, you don't have, like, when you're subtracting
See,
it.
there's, in that little tiny column, I had to squeeze everything in. So what, that little tiny column there, right there, that's would have been a debit. Okay?
What little tiny, oh, that little
That
tiny,
scheme.
oh, I see,
I
okay.
punched a little.
That's how much that goes out, not much.
It was kind of really interesting because with the Excel spreadsheet, you'd like to produce it, and I said, it's a waste a lot of paper, to be quite honest with you. This would be, if I had to reproduce this every month for us, it's way too much
Right, no, I
information.
agree.
Anybody is more than welcome to come and visit,
But
and
when you
that's
said,
why, that's
when
why,
you said that there's not a lot going out, I thought the gift and activities was how you paid like most of your bill.
Yeah,
Like,
no, just the fitness people.
oh, not like,
Yeah, so
okay.
the whole month of July, they weren't there really, so you know what I mean,
Oh,
like,
I see, okay.
so I didn't get to pay her, so. They'll submit their bills monthly,
Right.
and then the Zumba person submits theirs weekly, but she hasn't been here, so I don't have any money going out.
Right. No, I understand
Yeah.
that. That's great. And if we can just label things at the meetings or just,
Yeah,
I don't want just having to,
I like
I
to
know how
talk about
time
it.
consuming it is, doing Excel and, Word
So-
documents and things like that. So I think that,
I think-
we can just fill in the gaps when we're here and ask questions and just put it in.
I think we have to understand where we have the shortage in the staffing, myself, doing all this stuff. Okay, putting this together, putting these together, trying to get it out in a timely fashion, and all the different things that are coming at me. Plus, of course, we're getting an influx of people with a lot of finance issues, whether it be medical, healthcare, and trying to navigate through what Mass Health is sending them, and even doing a Mass Health application, and then doing SNAP applications, and then doing the, what was the other one? Oh, fuel assistance coming up, but then people with electric issues that can't pay their bill. So I'm dealing with someone walking in, we ask people to make appointments, but people do walk in. We do have people that have transportation issues, and they need to get places, and, I try to call them back. I had 25 calls in one day for just people, just transportation. And then I thought, how am I gonna get to all these people, when in fact, I'm trying to make sure that doing my PR thing downstairs with the social coffee, making sure that they have coffee, and they don't like black silk coffee, they like this kind of coffee. I said, drink it, it's good coffee, coffee's coffee. Anyway, they only like Maxwell House, sorry, it's a pun for Maxwell House, I hope we get a
There you go.
commission for it. But I'm just saying we have to be mindful of the fact, until we get a full staff in place, or
Right.
somebody that can help with all these things. You know what, I'm sorry, I didn't put debit and, or revenue here.
That's
debit
okay.
here.
That's okay.
It is what it is,
We
but I
can
do
do
the
that
best I
at
can.
the meetings. John, did you have
But-
another question?
Well, I kind of had a suggestion, but you had mentioned when you do the Zumba classes and all, it's reimbursable. I was wondering if maybe there's a number of people out there that don't go to the classes because they don't know that it's reimbursable.
Yeah, we do mention it to them.
You know?
And I think by the end of the year, they may not, but that's what I said, I would do that in the
But I'm
time.
just thinking when you put the
newsletter
thing in
out.
for those classes, to let them know that there is this
Yes,
possibility.
John, and that's why when you get a programs person involved, a programs person, even if they're 10 hours a week or whatever, will reimburse. They technically, in the real world, when COAs function, they have a programs person at the site that if they call it a COA activity or a fitness class, that person is a staff member that's physically there. Hey group, welcome aboard, everybody clocked in, that type of thing. Make sure that you have their permission to do the class, all that signed, make sure. And also explain to them, hey, by the way, don't forget, at the end of the year, now you can be doing this midpoint, June, but at the end of the year, you can remind them every month, but you have to have somebody physically there. I don't always go to all these classes, I can't get there, because maybe I'm at the center, because right
And
now,
isn't every insurance company different with the forms that you have to
Yes.
fill in and
yes.
what you have to do?
Yes,
So I
but
think just
I
a
always
reminder that, no, I think you're
I always
right.
remind them, the same thing with the tax write-off program too, which we only have two, but the same thing with the circuit breaker at the end of the year. You remind people, it's tax season, don't forget, at the end of the year, take your circuit breaker. It's a reminder at the end of the year, you can still get it, still submit it at any time, but it's always good at the end of the year because it shows a whole year of fitness classes. So it can be done in June if they want to get reimbursed, but I'm just saying, usually people do it for the whole year.
Now, John, when you say reimbursement, do you think it's the attendees that get reimbursed?
The what?
Well, he said about reimbursement, if they knew about reimbursement, but they don't get it personally, it goes to the COA.
No. So what happens is they pay the fee, the resident pays the fee, participant pays the fee for a class, and then at the end of the year, we'll run just what they paid towards the classes. They may have taken a class, 3 classes, and we'll run that, and it might be $150 of that year that they spent, $5, each class. And then they have to go into their, whatever the website is, or wherever their Medicare Advantage plan they have, and they have to identify the form that says.
Okay, I got you.
So they have to fill out a reimbursement form through their medical insurance carrier that then submits it with the documentation showing,
Okay,
hey,
gotcha.
I paid $150. Of that, the plan may pay them up to whatever it is that the plan will pay them.
Okay.
Sometimes it'll be $250, sometimes $3.
I misunderstood.
Yeah, nope.
Okay.
So they get the money back in their pocket. So to reminders, you can remind that as an incentive for people to want to take a class, and that's what it's there for. But, sometimes, people's minds are on other things and they forget. But if we had a person that was always there and present, you could always remind them. Or if they had a sign, we could post it, and I know in some centers that's what they've done. Don't forget, this is, tax deductible. I mean, we could read the newsletter, we can put in the newsletter, but people are like, oh, I didn't get my newsletter either. So so we have it on social media, we have it we're spending money to do it this way. But what is the best way? We can't figure out everybody's status and what's good for them. They have to be responsible enough to say, you know what, I think I better go get a newsletter at the senior center. I think one senior center, from what I heard, stopped sending them out. So you either get them online, or you physically go out to the center to get it. If we ever did that, I don't know what to say, but I think, at the end, when I think about it, it's like, how did you not read it, or how, maybe you didn't get it, or whatever, something happened. Or maybe they did get lost, or maybe it was ripped, I don't know. But what is the best way? But we have to think smart now. Our finances are a little bit different, so we are, just to bring up finances, on that one little topic I mentioned, the state provides us with money, $16 per senior based on the census. The census was 2,115 individuals, seniors. They reimburse us for, we get through $33,832. I know it was 33 something, but and we got reimbursed. But they send it in increments and three separate payments. So they might send us a payment of $16,932. They send that out. The second one might be $5,000, and then the third another $1,000. And then it's almost like it's a lag by the time we get the full funding. But I just only get a notice saying, hey, we sent it out. Here's a list of all the towns. List all the towns of Massachusetts and what they get and how much they got in each time. But I just don't know when we actually physically get it here. Like, all I know, so if I keep a record, I only keep a record based on what the town's the state's telling me. Again, I don't even know if we've actually received it. So now what they're asking us to do is to provide a documentation from the accounting department as to when it came in, what you spent it towards. I have a list of everything detailed as to how much we spent in the year.
Right.
But because they allowed us to have a running tab, like a revolving account, since COVID of 2020, I need to show all that money that was received, but I don't know if it's received here through wire. I don't know that the treasurer's office received it until I've asked for it, or hey, did you get it? Because I'm getting a notice from the state saying, hey, did you know we sent out this money? I'm like, no, I didn't know. How would I know? Because I don't get a notice saying, hey, darling, we got the check, something wire today. Because then that way there, I can add it to my sheet, and then I can get a copy of what that account is. And then, like we used to do, is reconcile and make sure that they balance, and to the penny. And then I can present that to the state and feel comfortable about doing it, because now we have to sign off on it. we have to put a signature to it. So now when they go to look at it and see where the money's going and being spent, it better be accurate. And I have all the documentation showing that it is accurate in terms of what we spent. And what I try to spend out of that state formula grant is anything having to do with programs. If we have a big event, it'll come out of there. Or if we have, and you can even pay a wage out of that, from what I understand. But also too, we can do like improvements and certain improvements in the building, but it has to be within what they think is okay, you know? So, yeah. So it used to be a green book we had to follow, but now they don't have that. So it's like a lot of the people that have already spent their money, some towns get $93,000, and they can spend that down on keeping their senior center active, keeping it updated and state of the art with regard to the programs, but also with regard to the building itself, to keeping the building within the means of what a senior center should be.
So, okay.
Anyway, so that's all I have for budget.
Yeah, can we move on, John? You all set with? I'd like to move on to the update on the building project. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't really good, okay, I brought this along, but I'm not supposed to show anyone?
You probably should do that.
I don't know.
We're not showing anybody, we don't know anything about it.
The buildings, so we have a buildings and needs committee that is overseeing the project. You've probably been to the meeting, but the building and needs project is, it's being overseen by that particular group, committee, I should say. And at this point, my last meeting, I just go as the audience.
Have they been meeting regularly on the COA project?
I've been getting, it's on a Tuesday typically.
Yeah, okay.
And sometimes it changes 10, sometimes it's a 1. But anyway, I try to.
I think I just got confused.
Huh?
It was with the building committee, right? No, you're saying there's another oversight?
Yes, it's not the building
No,
committee,
it's the building and needs committee.
it's a special committee.
Yeah, it's a building, school committee, and school and building.
Well,
needs
it's the
committee.
municipal building and school
Thank you.
committee, and
Right,
it's the same committee that's
It's the
overseeing.
same committee, it's not a
Yes.
different
It's the same
No.
committee, nobody said it was a different committee, it's not 2 committees, it's just 1 committee. But the point is that 1 committee, which you've been to the meeting, you as the audience, even the director is not allowed to make any suggestions
Yeah.
because it has to stay within the budget. And the people, that committee, I would believe they're all well versed in building.
No,
All
that's not true.
aspected, I don't know. I
A
don't
good
know
portion of
anything
them
about their
are builders,
Are they?
yes.
So if that's the
So
The
the
case.
chairman,
last-
from what I understand, is a landscaper.
Okay, so the last meeting.
I don't know what he does.
I
The
don't know
last
either.
meeting that I was at, or I zoomed in on.
That was a long time, yeah, changed.
They didn't like, they had chosen one scenario, scenario B, but then when the architect submitted all of that, they weren't happy with what was, what they were ending up gonna get, like there was no flooring down. That the ceiling was not acceptable to the building committee. And then that was the last meeting that I was at. So there was a lot of, it was almost more of a shell of a building. We thought we were gonna get more than was actually presented. The architect went back and said, no, this is what was presented, and he had all of that. But it kind of took us all by surprise at how little option B was giving us as the center, and we could change some things, like some of the windows weren't, like, we were surprised about that, but we were mostly surprised about no flooring and no ceiling. That's what I remember from the meeting that I went to. So then they were gonna, the architect was gonna go back or something, and then, but I don't know what happened after that. I didn't end up going to those meetings.
So the one meeting, last meeting that I just recently went to, they just talked about the site itself. They had to have it tested, the water and so on tested.
I thought that was done
No.
ages ago.
No, so what happens is they have to still do that because, what was the reason? I had a good reason, but I forgot what it was, but the site had to be tested again because of the fact it's where they're gonna be positioning the building and where the water table level is. So with that, they can't just run with what was proposed months or a whole year before. So they had to retest it and do that. So at this point, it was just the last meeting that we had was just this, to discuss the site. It was presented to this particular committee that to be knowledgeable in that area of site planning and so on. Because they are on the planning board and all that stuff. So whether, so that was proposed to them. And they took it back, read all the details of what they found in that site, which looks good. So then the next meeting that we're having, they did talk about a timeline. It's September 1st, we're having another meeting. Unfortunately, I can't attend that one because if you can.
I will.
Because it's the same day as Triad, and the president of Triad isn't able to, is gonna be away. So they asked me if I would chair that one, so I said, of course I would. And so I wouldn't be able to attend that other meeting. And I believe, just watch Jean for it because, and if you guys wanna attend
It's
as well.
usually at like 1 o'clock, I think I have a doctor's
But change
appointment,
it.
but
It does change, yeah.
They did change it to 10, I believe.
Oh.
Something did change, so look for it, okay?
So what is
Yeah,
it?
I have to be a triad also.
That's what I'm saying, that's why, so I think it was changed to 10 o'clock.
but it's September 1st.
Yeah, and I said, oh, I have to Triad, but nobody cared, anyway.
Well, I'm getting confused. September 1st, what time? Are they gonna have it here? The
So we
building
don't
committee?
know any of
You
those
gotta look.
details yet. We have to keep watching for the
Yeah.
posting of the meeting.
They don't make it easy.
And I will do that. I will.
Yeah, I think they do that on purpose.
September, I think, no, they said September 1st, and we have it at the Great Hall, because it's gonna be like that.
Yeah.
to me. It was at the Great Hall
Yeah,
area.
Because I know they
But
have
just
one
look.
here.
Just
this room.
confirm it, because
right,
it might
but
change.
when this meeting gets posted, I will let you know.
Okay.
The time,
You send out an email.
How can they have
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
the meeting if we have triad and we have it in the hall?
Oh, I don't know.
They'll probably have it up here like they did. one
Maybe
time,
they'll
right?
push it in here, I
Yeah.
don't know, all I know.
Not our
is
problem.
They're having a meeting, and it's gonna
Yeah,
be,
right, and I will check out
tuned.
the time and
I thought the
I
same
will
thing.
attend that meeting and I will let everybody know the details of that meeting.
I was interested. Anyway, but yeah, the last thing I heard was that they picked an option, there was, I don't know if I can hold these up, I'll probably get in trouble.
No, they had that at the public meeting.
Okay. And then they chose the B, but when it came through, they didn't understand why it wasn't gonna be painted walls and the floor was gonna be cement and then it's gonna have a coating of like shellac.
It was supposed to be
Ceiling. So,
polished concrete,
but
they
then
call it.
again, the B was selected because of the fact it was under the budget. So when you start thinking about all the things, when you're looking at it, they probably could scale back on maybe some, and then have the paint done. I don't know what they charge for painting, but that's gonna be something that's gonna be,
Right.
they'll figure it
But
out.
I know the building committee was a little taken aback by how little, because I think there was something with the ceiling too. If I remember that.
They
meeting.
said, make sure what they were proposing, they said, look, we have to stay within our budget.
Right.
We don't wanna go over our budget, don't do anything posh looking or whatever, and they didn't.
Right,
They came back with.
No.
Because we got more square footage, a little bit more square
Well,
footage.
the
but for
architect
that-
was right on top of things and went back and they pulled up minutes from the, the previous meetings about options A, B, and C, and what exactly it was and what exactly they proposed.
Right,
And what exactly the building committee voted on. But
right.
then when it came back, the building committee was like, when you actually see it in black and white, you're like, oh. So, but option B, they're just trying to stay within the budget.
Right.
There's a lot of work that the town would then have to do, I think, for
It'll
it to
be
be
nice.
really.
in the end to-
Oh, I think it's gonna be
Just
beautiful.
to make it
Yeah.
functional, it's gonna cost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And then we have to realize too, our building that we're in now, it's not a healthy building.
No,
It's
it's
a
not.
wonderful building, it served its purpose, it's for a different purpose. It's not healthy for, I mean, the smell from it, everything we have in that, it's not a healthy building in terms of, so when we have this new building, it's gonna be phenomenal
It is.
compared to what we're used to having.
I
But
agree.
the point is, I'm not saying accept anything, but I'm just saying, and we have an obligation to Featherwinds too, in terms of what's being sold and how it's being presented. So, not we, but maybe Thorndike would be helping, I don't know what's gonna happen. But you know, in the end, whatever that committee's doing, in terms of internally, externally, or whatever it is, it'll be beautiful in the end, I'm sure. Because we won't be in the building we're in. In terms, and we can allow that building to be blossom into something.
Exactly.
else.
We need minimal, be able to function,
gonna
and
be-
then,
Well,
and a
that's
gradual
My main
base.
concern
Yeah.
is when the building is done, when we move in, it's not gonna be 100% functional.
Well, I
It
don't know
will be
about that.
100% functional, I mean,
think
it will have floors and,
Well,
ceilings and
but
walls.
that's
and-
aesthetics. What about the services that you provide?
What do you mean?
Well, the main services are what Darlene does. There's no problem with that, no matter where she is, she's gonna do her job.
Well, except the last one that I saw, there's no offices.
Oh,
No,
Well-
So if Darlene has to meet with somebody and all you have is one big open room, they said, well, you have dividers that she can sit behind the divider. Do you
Well,
want to
I
tell your whole
believe-
life story behind the divider while there's a
I
whole room
believe
out there listening?
option
Yeah, but they changed that, they did, because
Yes.
it came up that Darlene needed privacy. Not just for her meetings, but also for her files. She has got to have a room she can lock.
Right.
I believe
I
there's
thought,
two
oh, yeah.
office
Oh, is
spaces.
there?
I
thought-
believe option B, what they presented at the meeting
Well-
was two
Right.
office spaces. There was,
Yeah. I
we
know what you're
were
saying.
concerned about where the entrance was to the two offices. It did have dividers. But there were two offices, that provided privacy. They had windows that were we were kind of like, didn't like where the windows were positioned. They were looking to have a door, I think, where the offices were, which didn't really make sense to me, but that's what they thought. But no, there were offices dividing, just Darlene's office and an office for the administrative assistant. That's what I remember. But we will see that at the meeting.
Yeah, and I think
And
when they come back.
yes, it will be fully functional. There will be things that, as a town, because we chose option B, that we will have to put in a better flooring. We will have to put in, I think,
I don't like cement.
no, we will have to put in, and I'm not really sure about the ceilings, but I thought it was the ceilings, but I'm not really
There was
sure.
talk about the ceilings, but I don't remember what it was, whether it was that they might leave open beams. I don't
Right, I
remember.
think there were some open, I think you're right about that,
Right.
but it will be fully functional.
Yeah.
We can go in, we're gonna like walking on cement floors. There's still, there's fully functioning bathrooms, men and women's. There's no staff bathroom, which is what I was, really pushing for. But there is room to put in a staff bathroom, I believe.
Yeah,
If we want to move forward with that, that would be all, the town would have to do that. There's no kitchen. So that was a
They,
big problem.
the last one I heard, they are making a space for the kitchen.
They're making a space for the kitchen, but it will not have space for the full freezers that Darlene needs. So they were talking about some really crazy stuff about like being able to put in the refrigeration, like mobile refrigeration. So that's really what I see is the main problem, and Darlene's been fighting that since we started this, that we need a big space for refrigerators. But this
Also-
option does not give us that big space for refrigerators.
Also, the last one I was at, they want to make room to put in a size for the commercial stove eventually. But they want to make sure that there's space there to put it in when we do it.
Right.
That's true.
Because putting in the stove right now is way too much money.
Here's the deal. The deal is this. We could talk about this forever, but it's not gonna matter.
Right.
What
They're gonna do what
really
they're gonna
matter,
do.
they're gonna do what is within the budget.
Right.
And this committee will work to make something into a community space the way it fits the budget, period. And it's not gonna matter if we like, hey, we wanna make sure, maybe down the line, yeah, we could say through hearsay or even in the meeting, we're not allowed to speak. But the thing is, I could say, and we do need to have a commercial something, you know, but here's what happened too. Let me add this one little piece. Our oven broke in the senior center. So we need to purchase a new one now, but we're okay because we have a creek, we heat the water up, we can have tea. It's not like it's bad
So
situation.
have you not replaced the stove yet?
We keep, because we don't have to, we have to get the money to do it.
You have
So-
the money, it's been allotted.
Wait, we just got that authorization. It was just granted to us at this generations meeting, which was just when, Monday,
Monday.
right?
Wait, New Generation said they were
Let me
gonna pay
finish
for the
what I want to
stove?
say.
Yes.
Yes, so let me finish. So we were looking at this electric oven that we want to purchase. So I started looking at different places where we could purchase, scratch and dent place or whatever, even the commercial places like Lowe's or Home Depot, wherever. Anyway, so now I'm like, okay, how do we get the money for it, right? So then it's electric, and it's pretty simple. We actually had someone come out to repair it. It was gonna cost the same amount of money, or close to the same amount of money as if we were to replace it. So we looked at that and scratched it, and at least we made the attempt to fix it and showed that we did, but we had to pay $130 for that. The second part of that is now to look for one, but we had to navigate to find out where we could get the funding for it. So I approached the Generations, which was on a Monday, just last Monday? Yeah. And I approached them to see if they would pay for it. They are a nonprofit. They are friends group for the COA, and this is an incident where we could feel that could be supportive of the situation. So in the meantime, we're okay. You know, we do have, why do we need an oven when we don't even cook there? Is what, you know, Meals on Wheels, when you think of it, they have a few meals on a Wednesday. They have the congregate meal site. Whether 2 people, 3 people, you know, it fluctuates again. So you buy a $600 or $700 stove just for 2 or 3 meals, I don't know. To me, do you let it go and just let it ride until we get a new building and just save the money? Or do you actually go out and purchase? So I said, you know, let's go to Generations and find out. And so the Generations said, well, one person suggested that we buy a commercial grade for that center. And I said, if we do that, that's almost $2,000 or maybe even more. They go out there anyway up there for a commercial grade stove. Plus then it's electric. We can only put electric in there at this point. And from what I understand on the commercial grades, it takes a higher voltage thing that you have to, so it's complex. So let's stay it simple. So I looked around and I have to now physically go get the quotes from 3 different places in the midst of all my other stuff. So I'm in the process of trying to get 3 quotes to present to the board and let them, because they're gonna be paying for it, and let them decide which one they wanna go with. and that way, the
They
wetland
asked you to
there.
get 3 quotes.
Well, I'm gonna get the 3 quotes because then I don't want anybody to say, oh, I could have got it at this place at this price. And I was like, no, I went to Home Depot. No, I went to Lowe's. No, I went to the D&L scratch place. 3 different options there that are more visible. Could I have gone to Cohane's? Yes, I've also, and you mentioned too, why not go to these places and ask them to donate it? I will do that. I am focused right now on trying to get our program squared away for the fall. That's more important. I will get a stove. Right now, we're accommodating, we're able to still have our dinners, you know, we're microwaving them. We're still able to have tea, we're still able to have coffee, we're still able to have snacks. You know what? It's on the list of things to do. Whether it's number 1, no. And so it's probably midpoint. So it's in the making, yep. But I'm just saying, somebody suggested that we get someone on the Generations Board suggested that we get a stove, what do you call it, the commercial grade stove, so that we can take that stove and put it in the new building. And I said, but we don't even know what that spacing will allow, so why go get
Yeah,
that stove?
right,
And
I
then
don't
find
think
out
it would
doesn't
fit in the council we have anyway.
No, it's gonna be, it was too many questions is too much to consider right now, based on the fact, number 1, it would need new electrical outlet, number 2, because it's commercial grade, and number 2, we don't know what the new building spacing will have.
Because technically, right now, it doesn't have spacing.
Yeah, I mean, so what's the worst thing you can have that happen? You're buying a new system for $650, sure, it does, or we just leave it alone. That's a decision up to whoever, I guess, everybody.
It makes it more difficult for Maria to not have the stove.
Well, we're not serving congregate meals in the tune of like 10 to 20 people, like some centers do. We have 3 to 5 people that are in there that come in, because we can only allow 15
Right.
people sitting. So she's very accommodating, she's very workable. And so what she's been doing is heating the food up with the microwave, and then the people have been having those. She can even order sandwiches if she wanted to do as well. But it's supposed to be for a hot meal for a senior. You know, that was the point. And, you know, thankfully, we're not serving like a huge community like some of them do, but we're doing what we can do with what happened.
So do you think it's a waste of money to get this stove now?
I don't know when our center's gonna be built. I knew
That's
that-
just it. I mean, it might be 3 years.
So it could, so $650, there's the
I have a question.
generations.
Why can't Generations go out and look for contributions? Why can't they go to stove manufacturers and say, here's the issue, here's what we're doing?
No, we can't do
You know,
that.
we're the corporate entity
No.
to raise money for them and have asked them to provide that stove. Why do you have to do everything? Why can't Generations go out to these different
Well,
manufacturers?
what was the stove that
and ask
you
them to donate
presented?
the stove?
I didn't present a stove, I just showed, I just started collecting what the same one that's there now,
Yeah,
but something similar or actually looks like the same one, but it was online, it was $650 or $47. But anyway, the point is I want to make sure that, yes, we try to get it fixed. Somebody's going to say something about that.
we did already.
And, I know, but somebody will come out, and how come we didn't? Well, at least we know we did try to do that. Second part is we did go to the local vendors, you know, those bigger stores. Number 2, we can go to some of the smaller appliance places, the scratch and dent places. There's 5 different places that come to my mind right now. And so, but the point is going out to each one or ask them to send a quote based on the fact of the specs you're looking for. Well, I'm not an appliance guru. All I know is it's an oven, it's electric, and it's simple. That's all I care about. And, you know, but if it's, you know, if I pull it in and it's the wrong kind of a plug or something, I don't want to be responsible for that part of it.
You won't, well, you gotta do is change, it doesn't come with a plug anyway, yeah.
Good.
Well, I think, but the main
You
thing
buy the
is,
plug.
the main thing is Darlene's decision, what she wants to do about the stove. And she's telling us that she's got it halfway down the list. And I think that that's important. She's got a full plate, it is getting better, but if she's telling this board that she doesn't have the time, or it's middle, it's down on her list, it's on her list, but bottom line is, it's her decision what type of stove that she thinks that she should put in there. If generations can go out and they can say, they can present a whole big thing, but at the end of the day, it's Darlene's, and she's expressing to all of us that she doesn't have the time to do this right now.
Well,
And she doesn't want anybody else to
It's gonna happen, and I know it does, and they are allowing us up to $800, so I'm gonna keep it within a reasonable budget, because I know, in the end, hopefully we'll have that beautiful building, because we have it's gonna happen, I'm sure.
But one thing is,
in the meantime, we do need to
it may
have-
take several years, but also when we finally get into the new building, we may take this one with us because we don't have the funds to get anything else, and we can't get a commercial at this point.
Well, right now, there's not even a space. for
I know,
that,
I just,
so
I stay in
think
the
we
moment.
need
They
to
did
leave
say-
this to
Yeah,
Darlene.
but they did say that they would make an area for
It's gonna
the
happen.
stove with the option of putting in commercial down the road.
And the thing is when the meals come in, basically with the meals that do come in for us, okay, they were bringing them in metal pans that had food in them, and we were putting them in the oven. But then sometimes I noticed that we had just the meals, the prep meals that are delivered to the homes, and those are recooked by the microwave. So, but I guess what it comes down to taste. Some things taste better in the oven because it has a crust on it, whereas
Yeah.
if you cook it in a microwave,
That's
it's
true.
So, I mean, it's just a question of, but what Maria's been putting together has been really wonderful, and the people have been, very accommodating, and they enjoy the social time.
Okay,
To
so
be out.
bottom line is the stove
Yep.
is middle of your list.
Right.
You will be in charge of what you think is best
And
for
it's
the
in there.
building.
Yep.
And then Generations has given you a
Right.
tool of that, and so when you're ready to do that, you're
Yep.
ready to do that.
Yep.
There's no, it's not gonna be like, oh, the building opens and there's gonna be a place for a stove, so we can move a stove.
But you never know what's gonna change.
Well, you never know, that's
Right?
true.
Because every day it changes, every time we have a meeting,
True.
it's like, wow.
I wish I had
So
your
I just-
optimism, darling.
So I just look at what's today, because we have to deal with today, and my priority list right now, and I want to just make mention of three more things. This is to summarize the programs. So I reached out to trying to get places to have things. Hendrich Hall was allowing us to have events, we can't have our fitness classes there because people pay to take the fitness class. They don't want us to charge for the fitness classes, so we have to because we have to pay the instructor. So if we had 3 fitness classes and we had them there and we were just paying, letting the instructor and letting it free, we can't do that. So we got to pay the instructor. So anyway,
Right.
so that was what. So going forward, I was able to lock in September 15th from noon to 2 p.m. We have Lewis and Ferry summertime concert there. And we'll get the details on the flyer. I'll send you out all this will go on a letter.
And
we
that's
just
at,
have-
that is at Henry
That's at
Hall?
Hendrich Hall, yep. October 13th, we have the CVS vaccine clinic for flu shots, COVID, shingles, and more. Whatever shot you want, they're gonna have it. So,
Where is that?
And that's gonna be at Hendrich Hall. These are all at Hendrich Hall, the bookings, so I had to book all this. These are important for fall stuff to come up. And then October 22nd, Matt York, we have the Harvest Moon concert. And that will be on a Thursday, noon to 2 p.m. And again, we had to make sure that we had the spacing at Hendrich Hall because they have their own programs going on there. And so we have to be out at 2 o'clock because then the singers come in at 2 o'clock. So we have to make sure that we're out
What
half
was
hour before.
what was the thing at Henrich Hall on the 11th? September 11th?
No, September 15th. Yep, I'll have all these in the newsletter, but I'm just
Thank you.
saying,
Okay.
this is my priority. So making sure we lock the places in, making sure we have and entertain and coordinate at the same time as we can get a hall.
Okay.
October 22nd, Matt, I said that one, Matt York, and then working on your life, or live your life, an Aging with Grace series, and I'll let you know the dates on that. We were hoping that we could, because we have open enrollment coming up for Medicare. It's coming up in October 15th to December 7th, so we want to make sure we have myself available to help people, but also I don't know if we can
You
get
have
a
to
shine
be trained
counselor.
for that, right?
Yeah, I'm going to take the course. You should do it.
Can you tell me the details, or what are the details of taking the
Yeah, I'll
course?
connect you to who you gotta go.
Okay.
But it's just a good way, like you just do a Part D plan and don't learn the other stuff. Maybe you can just do that. We'll segment it.
Okay.
So those are the cool
I will
things
do
that
that
come out.
because I want to understand that. So if you send me the details
Right.
on what I have to do,
So-
I can do that.
Okay, and the age,
I want to feel more useful on this board.
you will,
So,
and
With all you're doing? Jeepers, grow.
I think what we can do, like spring, pushing out the age series, Aging with Grace series thing. And then what we can do is have someone coming in. So I have an attorney that will come in. She's a pro bono attorney, phenomenal. And they talk about, weaving through, say, eviction notices and what, some of those kind of things, and what their service offers.
great.
So, and then I have another person that's gonna come in and talk about, financial aspect of it. If you draw money out of your IRA account, what affects that? Is your age and taxes and all that stuff. So I have a person talking about it. So that whole age wave segment of listen to what's happening in people's lives as they age, all these different things, financial aspect. Even the people that are retiring now at 65 and going on Medicare, I can't afford to be on Medicare. And they're because you're thinking longevity wise, how do you manage the
Yeah.
cost of the co-pays and all that? So those are the kind of things through this series, we want to help people know what's available out there, even at what's available through housing. Hey, listen, I'm renting a house right now, and now I'm not going to be able to stay there. What are my options? And where's the application, CHAMP application, where to go, federal applications, where to go. And that will help seniors transition from that point where some of them are renting, and they have to transition down to something that's more affordable because even the rents are getting too expensive. So it's a quality of life in the end that we're looking to achieve to give people resources out there. And so it's a lot of different things, plus of course have happy moments in our holiday party. We're going to have one, Linda Redding, she was
Elvis.
wonderful. Elvis Presley. It's a tribute, it's a look-alike, no. No, it's not.
Impersonator.
I mean, a person,
Yeah.
So,
I have a-
not Bette Midler. I'm only kidding.
I have a question on the legal advice.
Yes, I know.
Only because I did the one with the attorney that we have. And we sat down and we talked about some things. And he said, well, you really want to look into doing this and doing this and doing this and doing this. And if you have an option, it's a fish offer. Because we can do it for you. This is $800, this is $1,200, this is $2,600, this is $3,200. Let me know if you want to proceed. And that was the advice he gave.
But here's the deal.
There wasn't anything about you can go over here, this will help you, there's paralegals over there that can help you. None of that. All it was he was selling his services.
Well,
And that was all he was there for, was just to sell his services so that you would buy his service.
right, but here's how, okay, if you look at a lot of these centers, they do offer some attorney services. So some of them just offer one. I don't do that. So what I do is bring as many attorneys in if they want. I brought in 3 different attorneys, all different personalities, right? because they said, you have a choice. But I'm bringing a NAILR eligible attorney there, one that's certified in elder law, okay? And it's national association that they're a part of. So I bring in these 3 people only to give people choices. Do they have to use it? No. Can they go looking for more? Yes. It's just a service, it's just an offering, and we're not saying, I'm not an advocate, we can't get somebody from the state to say, I'm gonna set up your will, I'm gonna set up your trust for you for free. I wish we could. I don't think they have enough resources out there to do that. And, you know, we have to be mindful of the fact that if there is that type of thing you gotta look for, where to go and how to do it in the most thoughtful and financial way you can afford to do it, is what you gotta do on your own. Because we're not gonna lead you to the water to drink it and then make you take it. That's not what we're there to do. We're there to say, here are some choices. These are, if you didn't like that pricing, go to the next one. Didn't like that pricing, you gotta find your own fit. I'll bring 3 people, we used to have just one, but I did it only because of the fact it made it look like we were just selling that one attorney, and I'm like, I don't want it to be looking like that, but we're not. We're just saying it's a thing to think about. And they're doing one at the park where they're asking me to talk about it, but to talk about even planning your, you know, restful days, the funeral home contracts and those types of things, and things about the wills. That's the time to bring in the different attorneys. That's the time to say to the attorney, just give us an education. We did that at the library. We brought in another attorney from Milton, a new guy, totally off the cuff. He came in, he said, hey, you know what? This is what a will is. This is what a trust does. This is what, honoring choices would be in terms of, and that's why I brought in Ellen DePaulo. Ellen DePaulo, she created the honoring choices concept of like picking out your will, doing your trust, when to define what you really want out of the end of life. Whether you want to be cremated, whether you're not, but to talk about honoring choices, and she put that together. I had that at Triad, didn't cost us anything. It's a learning curve, educational. And that's why I like to bring in people like that are qualified people, but you gotta go to the meetings. If you don't go to that meeting, you miss out, then it's like, okay, what's the alternative? Sure, could I high hosey her every day? Probably not. Like come in every month to our center. She deals with so many people requesting things of her nature, and she's doing that as a vendor, but also as an attorney that put this honoring choices together. And then she works with assisted living facilities. She works with a lot of other entities or agencies. So what I do in most, this is the director position that I try to focus on, and who are those people out there, making those network connections, making sure that we bring them here. And sometimes I can't even get to those meetings to do all this. I was supposed to go into a Boston meeting, two Boston meetings I got invited to, and I couldn't go. But the thing is that it was a conference about talking about death and how to accept it. And it is in our, it's
You don't have much choice when it gets there.
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's a discussion of it, I'm like, I haven't even thought about, because you don't think about it, you want and don't want to think about it. But it was interesting the way they talked about it. These are educated people that know how to approach it, they're specialists. And I said, geez, could you come to our center to talk about it? Absolutely. Just like, all right, another one, just one more and I won't say anything else. But it's called PAC, the Pension Action Center. Okay, so I'm like, PAC, where have you been? And people
Yeah,
like,
I've never heard of that.
yeah, right? So we can get them to come and speak. I said, so what I do is I dig further, get more information from them, and I'm like, I understand that they're nonprofit, but they're set up through UMass Boston, their college, UMass Boston, and they work from that entity, they get funded through the college, and so I'm like, well, let's learn about this. So I call them, I research it. That's what a director does. That's what I should be doing. And I spend a lot of time looking at these different aspects in these good vetted programs that are out there. And they're trustworthy in a lot of ways. Offerings are trustworthy. Say, for instance, your company closes, you're getting ready to retire. This is one example they would do. They're an advocacy group. Oh, my company closed, I worked there for 32 years. I can't access my pension. I don't know what pension I don't know, I was with the pension group there. And I'm having difficulty reaching the company that closed. What do I do next? Well, this advocacy group has, with the authority of the consumer, work with that consumer to help them get to finding where their pension is. Because now this person has to rely on that pension in addition to Social Security or whatever they may have had. But they help with advocacy in terms of pension and those type of legal questions. So they're attorneys, they're vetted, they're through the university, and those are the kind of things we have, as well as the veteran, this program that I have for the social worker to come in to work 16 hours. And she's a gem. And the towns that wrote the grant, you got to thank Duxbury, you got to thank the commissioner of the Health and Human Service Commissioner, Michelle Brady, who was the director in Plymouth of Active Living. They spent time putting these grants together, and they offered it to small towns. And I said, can you include us and keep us in mind? And they did. So we have a social worker. It took 1.5 years to work this through. We have a social worker starting September 1st. And it's not costing the town a cent, okay? She's gonna be educated, and we're gonna learn together. And so I just wanna make sure that when she enters here, she's gonna have a smooth sailing. And meaning that she can get on our computer system, that she hasn't badged, and these things are simple. And the person that's overseeing it, we have to, as a director, I have to write reports of her, how she's doing. And then I have to submit it to her supervisor, which is a licensed master's degree social worker who's overseeing this project, which then in turn goes back to the college, which is Bridgewater State. So these are students that are getting out there. We're encouraging gerontology. We're encouraging students to get into the field of gerontology. And it's a win-win for everybody, because we want to see more doctors and more the healthcare professionals, as well as people like ourselves in the industry, understand that gerontology is important today, as well as, child education and child welfare as well. But we need to make sure that we understand how to take care of our senior population. And we're trying to encourage students to not veer away from it. And there's so many opportunities to participate in it. There's just so many fields you could, psychology, the psych pattern, or maybe, senior living and investigation of what kind of senior living. When a doctor says, go home and take this medication, but you go home to a home that's hoarding, and how to get that person out of that situation and get help when they just can't do it. So connections is a really important factor as a director, and I want to make sure that that's where my focus is. But it hasn't been, I still do it, I still know, because of the industry I've been in for 20 years, is to say I know the people to connect with. But the thing is, this takes a lot of time. And so when I don't put revenue on my sheet, let it go.
Okay.
So I
guess we've talked
things like that.
I guess we've talked a little bit about this, but I'd like to, because
All right, that's all.
yeah, so I'd like to talk about Well, you've talked about
Yes.
some of the problems and the concerns you have on your day-to-day operations. But under this, I'm gonna put in the problem that we're all having with what we talked about, getting our emails, looking at, like, we were talking about that earlier,
Well-
before the meeting started, and you had some thoughts on that.
Yep, so basically what Jean is mentioning is that we've had some issues with regard to how to define, number one, the new positions. After the override, no, it wasn't the override, after the July 29th meeting, the special town meeting, they gave us back some funding to hire staff. But in that accounting part of it, I have to understand how to divide it up, and what, it has to define an hourly wage. So we have to provide transportation, because guess what? GATRA's reimbursing us, okay? And so we need to, so we have that out there. We decided what the rate would be and so on.
But that's all coming out of the GATRA account, right?
It's gonna be, yeah, it'll be a line transfer item.
Yeah.
Or whatever they do. I don't know what they're doing, I don't want to.
Right,
Okay.
but that comes out of the GATRA, the van driver's salary.
But then the second part of that is how to pay an admin person. So first I was told that I could have a 40-hour position. I had to decide which one I wanted. 40-hour position, either outreach or admin or whatever, and then have a part-time. Okay. So I'm thinking, okay, well, that's kind of, I know what I need. If we have this volunteer as a social worker, she's gonna do some outreach. But I'm not gonna give her like a lot that is gonna, she's gonna, 8 months, she's gonna be with us. That's, pretty good, in 16 hours a week. So it'll be a Monday and a Wednesday. So I figured what complement that, because we need somebody to do fuel assistance coming up, right? So we need somebody to be able to learn how to do the fuel assistance applications. They're not easy peasy in terms of understanding. If you don't check off that right box, that person's not gonna get it. We're not area experts in everything. And that's what bothers me about sometimes our expectations. We're supposed to be Medicare, we're supposed to be fuel assistance, we're supposed to be doing all these wonderful things, SNAP and all this. You don't, and housing, right? So those are important factors. But if you haven't been sitting in all those different types of meetings, how do you tell a volunteer, hey, come and help this person do a SNAP application? It could be simple, but a person could be the difference between getting $50 and $150, okay? I don't want to be responsible for that. Neither should a volunteer, neither should somebody who hasn't been doing that kind of
Right.
job. So it takes a while for a person to get acclimated to understanding how to fill these applications out. So just to throw somebody in there with semi-knowledge is not, you're leading the public or the participant or the senior member to believe that you're an area expert. We're not. You are there to help that agency out, whether it be South Shore Community Action Council. They need somebody. They don't have enough people to serve all these communities. So what do? They ask these satellite offices to help, whether it be us or some other senior center. All senior centers try to do that in outreach. So that outreach has a lot of responsibility. But to find somebody at 40 hours a week is more likely that you're gonna get someone than to say, oh, would you like to work 20 hours?
So what's happening is, at July 29th, at the override, the town voted to do a sum of $50,000 for COA wages.
Right.
But now, you're saying the positions that you once had, they don't fit into that $50,000, but you still have that $50,000, and it should be up to the director to decide how you're gonna spend that. So if you wanna spend all of that on your outreach, then you have, X amount of dollars left to hire another position. So this is, the town has given you that amount of money to spend on wages. And just like sometimes, when I was director of the library, those positions change sometimes. And, oh, now my tech person, I can only have them for 15 hours a week as opposed to, 20 hours a week because I need that help on the circulation desk. So it sounds like it would be your decision to decide how you want to spend that $50,000 and how you want to make those job descriptions,
But again, we're dealing with union, and we need to meet, have glasses, I don't know, I hate all these glasses.
I know.
don't know what's going on. But the problem is that I want to make sure we do the right thing by the union
Absolutely.
positions. And if we just all of a sudden, you're gonna be bringing someone in, and then all of a sudden you're finding something else out, because wait, you didn't ask if it's union. But we need to have someone that I can go to and say, like, in some places they do have the HR personnel that are
Right.
knowledgeable in these areas. So I rely on people here to help lead me, and so in terms of when it comes to union positions, what are we allowed to do in terms of going out there to the community to
And so
actually
you
hire.
reached out to Kendra.
So I did, yes. So that whole thing with that is that you can reduce the hours from 40 to 20, but my point is that how do you take a union job description that was 40 hours, it's always been 40 hours, and make it, and take that same job description, how, I can't go and then redesign that job description to fit the 20 hours.
Well, I think that,
I think that's
I've
union.
done that.
That's a
Well,
union
I
thing,
think
isn't it?
I've done that
I don't
in
know.
the past.
That's legal.
But because nobody's sitting in that position, I would think that it's okay, but yes, I would.
But that's a
you have
question I have to
clarify.
ask.
Yes, you have to ask that.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
I think it's
That's
okay for
my
you to
story.
decide how you want to spend that $50,000, because you don't have anybody in those positions at the moment.
Correct.
So.
So where it just happened in July 29th, it takes a lot of figuring out in terms of the pieces to make sure it fits well. And that when we do bring someone in, we're not gonna be flip-flopping,
Right.
okay? Because that happens, and I've seen it happen, and I don't
Oh,
want it to
absolutely.
happen. And when I bring somebody in, I wanna be clean, I wanna be upfront, and I don't wanna have somebody say, I didn't know it was that, and then quit. Okay, so when I'm trying to be methodical about the approaching of hiring an individual, I don't have that resource that is so well knowledgeable in areas of HR, and they are certified, whatever they are, specialties in that area where they can say, no, you can't do that, Darlene. Yes, you can do that. I'm not area specialist in HR, but I know a little bit about stuff, but when it comes to the municipality sector, it's a little bit different. And, maybe someday I'll take a course in it when I have that opportunity.
No, I'm just saying that
But
you.
I'm just saying,
It's up to you to decide what you need
Right, oh,
for
I
the
know what I
building now.
need.
And there's no people involved in that, and I think you can rewrite that job description and then present it to the union, saying, this is the union position
Right.
that I need at the building
But
right
I
now.
have to have the time to do that, and
Right,
that's what I'm
right.
saying, I'm like, all these various patients, I have to do the next newsletter.
Right,
And in order to do the next newsletter, I have to know what my programs are gonna be in the future, so I can then put it in my newsletter. So then it doesn't look the same every month, Would I like to go to a seasonal newsletter? Probably. Would I not like to spend money, $200, because the postage did go up? So do I want
Postage
to
went
keep
up a
continuing?
lot.
Yeah, but it's being paid by a grant, but the thing is like, would I like to see it in another way that's gonna be sensible? Because we're spending, the time that it takes to put this out, it's taking, if I had to calculate the dollars and cents per hour in terms of my time, in terms of the time that the volunteers come in, it takes a lot. And then the postage that goes out, and I'm like, and then someone says, I didn't get mine. I'm like, wait, how did you not get it? I just spent all this time and money in it. And
would
like,
it help if the board talks about this
yeah, no,
and says to you, not helping, but the board says to you, Darlene, if you feel comfortable making changes in how the board and how that newsletter is presented to the community, then we can ask the board if we think that's a good idea too. Would it help if we expressed our support? of how you want to see that.
So we're
Because I
trying-
would ask that question of the board right now if you'd like.
Right, so we don't have easy peasy situations right here. So we've had to make a lot of decisions in the last few months, and we got slam dunked, okay? I didn't get
Right.
any reimbursement yet either for my wages that I lost, okay? I
Right.
never got anything for it, and I didn't ask for it. I could have been a jerk about it and just said, you know, you owe me, and pay me. So you know what, I mean, I'm dealing with a lot of different variables here, so that is on the list of things to do.
Okay.
And in terms of a job description and going forward, how we want to write that job description now that it's only 20 hours. You know?
Right.
And could it work with, I have an outreach person that's gonna be here 8 months, but what happens after 8 months? Can I still survive on a 20-hour outreach position? Do you know what I'm saying? So it's all these things you have to think about. So I'm trying to stay in the moment of what we need, but I'm also saying, uh-oh, if I go that direction, I want to make sure that it's smart. It's a smart decision too. But when have people coming in or saying, hey, I don't like black silk coffee, I want this kind of coffee, and I'm running out to go down to get that, I have to say no, and I have to be, you know, mindful of that. But also too, it's on, all these things are working towards a goal, and the goal is to be as successful as possible. The programming is most important, yeah. And with that said,
Silence your cell phone.
but you're absolutely, so that will be, and then I always wanted, like, the packet for volunteers, which I see that's over here.
I think
I
we
want to
should-
make sure,
I think we should table that. I
Yep.
think there's too
But-
much that unresolved that has to.
yep, but here's, I already started it, okay?
Yes.
But I wanted to mention the fact, so we got a lot of new people coming in. So when Barbara came in, and I wanted to say, oh, welcome, Barbara. And then, oh, here's our policy on transportation. Here's a talent bank form. Here's a form for emergency services, you know, so we can set your profile up. And welcome aboard. And maybe a nice little something else, you know, to welcome you.
Maybe a lollipop.
A lollipop, and, you know, or flowers or something. And then the other thing too, I've been working to do is the handbook, the volunteer handbook. So what a volunteer form. So this has been on the agenda here, like, what do you like to do? Well, I'd rather, because I presented some different options in the newsletter, and people like, I don't, like, for instance, we have the senior tax write-off. The senior tax write-off is for a purpose, senior tax write-off. We need help. Come work at the center. Well, I don't wanna, I'll come and work there, but what am I gonna do? Oh, okay, well, do you wanna do you gotta give them this form. If I had the packet, I could say, well, Meals on Wheels, no, I don't wanna do that one. I already proposed brown bag pickup. We need somebody to go to pick up the brown bag in Plymouth. Even just to set up the coffee and make the coffee in the morning, you know, so those are the kind of things. But if they keep saying they don't want to do any of these things on the list, I don't know where to go with it. You know, so I'm like, you know what, then why be a volunteer? But then if they're so used to having, prior to me coming on here, but they're so used to being at one place to do this senior tax write-off. I'm like, yeah, but we got to split you up, because guess what, it's a senior tax write-off. I'm willing to let you work 25 hours, you're supposed to put in 50 hours to get a reimbursement for that off their taxes. But that's why it's senior tax write-off. In most centers, they have the employee, the volunteer tax work-off person in the kitchen at the senior center, working there. Well, we could do that, but again, you know, or even helping with the newsletter, you know. So there's a lot of things that, you know, there's a list of stuff, but that packet, I'd like to see that out there so I could hand that to them and say, pick one, because this is what it is. I can't, you gotta pick one. You know.
So
if you're gonna
at
do
the
tax
next
write-off.
meeting, do you want to,
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to do that now, or do you want to?
I think we should do it where it's late, and I think this should be, we
So at
should,
the next meeting, can
do
you
it.
bring copies or did you
Yeah.
already give copies to all of us?
I can't see, yes.
So I'm wondering if we could all have a copy and we can look at that next meeting and then we can.
Could we get the
approve it.
copies before the meeting so we can go through the whole thing and see if we have questions or stuff?
All right,
Well,
guys,
we can talk about that at the meeting.
there's one for you, there's one for you, there's one for you.
Oh, okay, so,
Yeah, you gotta make more copies.
Okay, moving.
Let's see, I can't, I'll give you more, I don't have a lot of copies for you. Volunteer opportunities, the descriptions of what they do, but I'll get you a copy of it, okay? And the talent bank form, the one that's online, it's not the same, or the Corey even. The Corey that should be what we used to have, somebody went in and changed it on the computer up there, and it doesn't give you a full, I guess, I don't know what happened to it, but it's different. But the one that we used to use.
so all you volunteers have to be quarried.
Correct.
But the town, like at the library, I had to I had to go through my own type of training and asked to be able to submit a quarry form. But you don't have to do that because the town submits all your quarry
No,
forms.
they don't. They used to, but now it's not.
Okay,
This is no longer in service.
What is it?
The Stop and Shop Red Pickup.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So we'll
It's-
take that one off. I gotta find these in the computer, because we did these 2 years ago.
Other than that,
In the
everything
making.
seems.
Yeah, so it's been in the making for a while, so I gotta go on and find out under volunteers. It should be under the volunteer list, and then and change some of that too.
okay.
Because when this was started, it was started 2 years ago. So anyway, those are the little things that would be nice to welcome people. And this would be our little volunteer book, little pamphlet thing to give
Right.
somebody
I
coming in.
think you gave out something like that, I think it's in my other folder. But all I'm saying is to start fresh, and we could do that next week.
Yep, we
If we
can.
had this form,
Let's do the first thing on the agenda, make that maybe number one, after budget.
on the agenda next time.
Yeah.
To put, first thing would be
So-
review of the volunteer packet.
Yep, so we're
Okay.
under director's report, budget update, volunteer packet afterwards.
Okay, perfect.
And that way there we have our agenda done.
Okay,
And then, so this is our meeting.
welcome.
There's a lot in there.
Like, do you see why yeah.
To absorb all that.
If you're still interested, we have contacts with psychiatric capability.
Social worker, yeah.
Well, that's what it is.
Jean, back on the newsletter, would it be productive, like, I get the newsletter in the mail, but I go online.
Too much.
How
Right.
many more would
I
do
know.
that if we
That's
could
why I
go through
leave
a
here
list?
and
Because there's a
lot.
lot that are being mailed
and then
out.
people.
There are a
complain.
lot.
Yeah, but there's a lot of them that are dead, that are getting it.
I
People have moved.
really,
I
Right.
think that's what I'm saying, but I think that's all
the
Donna's
hard part
decisions.
was when
and
I
we
was
can-
asking for just simple
can,
things. 1, 2, 3, make sure the.
Support her in those decisions and
But
say,
what-
yes, we think that's a great idea. That's why I brought that up.
What we already do is we put the labels on the newsletter. We all try to go through and recognize names. We know this one, I mean, there was one that had been gone for 2 years. So we try to, each one of us, if we know somebody on that list, that things have, they've deceased, they've moved or whatever, we try to help Darlene to pull these out and let her know so she can take them off the
Darlene.
list. But it's a hard,
See,
it's,
everybody's like, well,
I wanted to know on the newsletter, how many we mail out is unbelievable. And how
456.
many people are there like me who can get it online now, but I would still receive it
But
going in
that's,
the mail?
yeah, and that's, a lot of
If that
people,
would help.
here's the deal. You have the option to go on. And Caesar was, he set it up so that, IT set it up so that you can go online and it's self-propelled,
Right.
okay? If you choose to get it, this is it. And then if your email changes, we're storing information in our computer, in our profile, how many emails changed. I just had a person come in to me yesterday and say, oh, that's not my telephone number, I got rid of that. I'm like, how are we gonna know that?
Right.
But you know what I'm saying, like, or we just have, so we don't know what we don't know if they don't give it to us. But if you wanna choose, and we can't force people to give it to us. So
Right.
guess what? If you wanna get the newsletter, go in, put your email, and if it changes, you have the option to change it. So it's self-directed.
Also, like
yeah.
Judy said, they found people who are deceased but still on the list.
Yeah.
Getting there.
But
A couple
A couple of them.
month or so ago, when we were doing it, we found this person that had
One
been
person.
dead for like 4 or 5 years. But we found others that we know have moved, and what we try to do is let
Yeah.
you know when we
So-
find somebody
So what
that,
happens here is that if we have a profile in our database, we have a database that we use called My Senior Center. Our My Senior Centers, you come in, remember the kiosk, lock on, okay, key tag, we should all have our key tags.
I have
All of-
mine.
right
yeah.
there.
So, anyway, so we have that, but what has established is that we used to use that, all those people that were in there that wanted the newsletter, when we were doing the old system and it used to jam. And when we get the newsletter out, we used to print them ourselves. It would actually put the person's information in there. But you'll still have the same thing. If the person passes and it doesn't show up we've had that case happen, where a person may pass, it doesn't show up in the obituaries. And then at the end of the year, what should be happening is we then go to the clerk's office and say, could you give me a list of all the seniors? And we did that in 2023, and I hired this person for 12 hours a week. She was super good. She got in, she did all this cleaning up. So what she did is she got in to the system from the census and said, wait, here's the people from age, 60 to 65 or 65 to 70. And then we went through all of them, all the way up to 102. And when we did the whole list, and we saw that some people had passed, but they were never in the obituary. So we try to get them when something happens in the obituary, but people move. People go into nursing homes.
Yep.
No, their families, the last thing in their mind is like, oh, call the senior center and tell them. So we have some of those things are gonna happen. If it was a gazillion of them, I'd say there's a problem. If it was maybe less than 5 of them, or a handful, it's not out of 400 or 500 of those things we
So
get.
how many newsletters do you mail out?
We produce 500, that's what is funded through our sponsors, is 500, and we mail out 456.
Would it help though if we went through a list or came here and got a list of the deceased?
Yes, we did, the obituaries, I try to keep up with all those, but what they did do way back when, is they kept a separate Excel spreadsheet. So now what we have to do in order to produce the labels, because we can't produce it from My Senior Center, unless I'm gonna find out from them if we can, but if you don't put the person, that's why I like continuity. If one person comes in, they put a senior in profiles in one way, then the next person comes in, if they're not trained to do the same thing all the time, you're gonna have a variation. So that's why now I contacted My Senior Center, because I had a download, and I saw in my reporting that all the volunteers was adding up to like 792 hours. I'm like, there's more hours than that we have put in, just sitting here at this meeting for 3 hours. Those are hours we put in. It never got recorded, something didn't happen. So I have to go find out where those errors are. I know in my head that within the year's time, that's why I'm saying there's got to be a continuity. That's why they have people at the door when they're senior centers, okay? It'll happen over time, but you have at a senior center, you go in there, there's always a person, most of the time, there's always a person there to help you, clock in. Oh, you can't just enter the building and just wander. You have to enter in and put your name in that system.
Yep.
And then they help you, pick and choose. So that accuracy, when the end of the year you're producing a report, that director's gonna look at their report and say, okay, that's about right, those numbers look good. And
Where's your little
and
thing?
that's what, yeah, and that, some of the people were saying that, and I brought it to the class to see, but when it was scanning, then I get it back to the system to plug it into the computer, it wasn't downloading everything, you know what I mean? So I'm like, ew, I don't wanna take a risk. So what they're saying is we had like a little, because we
Like a
don't have a
fob.
sensor, yeah, a fob, yeah, or some kind of a scanner, it's a scanner. And I would scan the key tag backing. And this is the other thing that we've had, especially in Zumba classes. People come in, they get intimidated by the fact you're asking them to register. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but we need to know who you are. So if you give me $5, I need to know how to apply it to something. And I have to apply it to somebody's name. So we ask that if you register with us, you can use the same key tag for all the centers, one key tag. You just gotta register with each center, but just have one key tag, So the point of the matter is, when you download all this stuff and you have to report to the state what you did, if those numbers are not looking good, I don't want to be lies, figures lie. I want to be able to be accurate about what our figures are producing. So I have to now write a report, about what that. But as for, if people don't notify us of changes, that's why I try to send these out.
Yeah, we have two right now that have just moved.
Yep, so I need to know, not by, people come in, oh, John Smith moved, I'm like, can you have John Smith call me? I'm just saying, I shouldn't say John Smith, but I'm just saying, because there's probably a John Smith out there, sorry. Or Darlene Regan, moved, and, yeah, so, but anyway, Darlene Regan moved, so guess what? She needs to call up and say, I moved, or if someone passed, then we will get it either through the clerk's office, but we have to go physically get it, that census. But these are the things that, if I'm doing all these multiple things, like, it's just those little things you have to let go, because sometimes you can't, but if there's a whole hoarding list of people that are showing up on a list, there's a problem. But if there's only a few of them, considering the fact that a 456, it's not that bad, but it does happen, and you're gonna see it, and then we can capture it. And you girls, thank goodness you do the newsletter consistency, and then the same people doing the newsletter, they know that something.
Yeah, but now we have a system, we go through it like that.
Yep. That's what I'm
What
saying.
else is in the volunteer packet that we're gonna go over next meeting? We have, you'll show us the new form, we have to find out about the quarry, and then,
Yeah, I gave you that
I have this one sheet.
volunteer, right?
Yeah, got they all have to be quarried.
Yeah, we gotta make a handbook out too for them. This is what Kingston did, we did that.
Okay,
And
I
mission
think I have that
statement.
at home, yep.
So we'll have to think about how we wanna write that, summarize it maybe, but here's a sample.
Right, okay, so on your volunteer packet, you wanna have like the packet.
The volunteer form, so you have the volunteer form,
And then we have to find out.
opportunities, what they are,
That's
describing
part
them,
of the that's part of the
Okay.
volunteer form.
okay? And then,
So I have that Kingston thing at home, I believe.
and Corey in there. Right,
Unless if I don't have that anymore, let me see if I have that. If not, I'm gonna ask you if I can borrow that, but then I will give it back to you at the next meeting.
What,
at some
Cory?
point. No, the Kingston
oh,
packet.
yeah, sure. Yeah, it's just a cool little reference book. Like, I can even see, they even put the
Oh, I
about.
have it,
Okay.
okay.
And then they even have a page where you're like, oh yeah, I received it and read it, So
Okay.
that way there they have an idea as to what theirs, they know what they're doing. See, it talks about.
So you're saying, yes,
The
you wanna
Cory?
make this handbook?
Yeah,
Okay.
and this has been participants' independence, you know, what they want. It's just a really good reference book, I felt.
Okay, I think it is too.
And that's awful. Hang on. Oh, and Barbara's gonna be teaching, well, Barbara offered to come in to teach a high tea class.
Well, I'm gonna actually do a high
To
tea.
do a high teaching. So,
A what class?
High tea?
activity.
High tea?
High tea. So,
A tea.
Fancy tea
Oh, a
party.
tea party, okay.
so,
I've never been to a
so
fancy
now we're
tea
talking
party.
not serious, so we're talking fun stuff, something
Yeah.
fun and relaxing.
Is it
So-
Irish tea with brandy in it?
Whatever
Yeah,
you want.
she came in to like, in the beautiful things that she purchased, and so she.
So I've already done them in my home, and I have still a bin of, you know, the plates, the napkins, and,
Yeah,
you know, say, so wow, for a senior center, just have a high tea maybe once a month, but it would have to be kind of not too big, because I'm making all of the food myself. I'm prepping it and everything and making just
Wow.
finger
Yeah.
sandwiches and scones, and doesn't have to be anything cooked, so I can either do it at the senior center or do it at home and bring it in. It doesn't have any,
Right.
don't need a stove for
Right.
it. You know what I mean? So,
She
I just
offered to
thought
do
it would
that,
be kind of.
and a
fun
Mother's
thing.
Day, a
yeah.
Mother's Day, or maybe
Yeah.
even close to
And
Thanksgiving.
having it, so
you
I
know.
maybe 8 people, and if, you know, there's more of a, you know, more people that want to do it that month, I'll be able, it's like first come, first serve, and then they can do it the next month, because I can't have too many.
right, right,
And,
right.
you know, we said maybe we could do it at the conference room there, and I
Yep.
can set it up that way.
Yeah, that's
And then-
nice.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
small, I just
It's
thought it
nice,
was
it's
sweet
fun.
that she came in and offered to do this.
That
I'm
is
like,
very wonderful.
yeah, and I thought, oh my gosh, it's.
I know, I was like, I got this, I don't know what to do with all this stuff.
Yeah, and it's nice in the way she, the pictures of it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that would be beautiful. And they cannot rotate, so one group could do 1 month, and then next, you know, we can skip a month too, I don't want her.
Yeah.
But we can support it with the grant I have too, and funding for some of the schools.
That would be great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and, but it just
Yeah.
was nice
Yeah, I
that,
make everything from scratch.
It's just-
I just have fun with it.
Beautiful.
You know.
she does.
Sounds
very
wonderful.
nice. No.
I mean, it can be
What a
males,
potato.
but mostly women like to do this, but I'm not gonna be,
Mm-hmm.
you know, excluding. I don't
Right,
know.
right, right.
I don't know who would.
Yeah, we'd have to figure out like the sign-up sheet and then,
Yeah.
you know, something like that.
Yeah, we used to do that on Mother's Day
Yeah,
a while back. Yeah, but
That's
we
a
did
good
it at
time.
Henrich
Made to
Hall.
do it on Mother's Day, do different holidays.
We had it at Henrich Hall.
Yeah, you told me.
And the first few times, we made little tea sandwiches and mini desserts.
Yep, that's
So
what I do.
volunteers did
That's
it
what I
all
do too.
together.
Yeah.
The last one, we ended up having some kind of a subs or something that were cut up.
Uh-huh.
And it was a little different because there was different kind of teas
Yeah.
too.
yeah, oh yeah, we
I
had,
do
we had
like
a person.
I do like all the flavored teas, like there'll be like maybe 6 or 7 different varieties, whatever you could choose, you know, that you like. Yeah.
We had
it's
someone
fun.
from Boston Tea Party come in, you know, like that, what type of teas were put together, and, you know, what
I might
year
even,
it
yeah,
was
I might
at.
even have like, what I did at the other parties I've had is like a little contest of tea trivia.
Oh,
So you know, I'm trying to find out where I put it, but I've had them already, you know, typed up and everything. But
Wow,
you know,
that's-
give a
it's
little,
fun.
you
It's
know,
cute.
give a little prize to
Yeah.
trivia tea stuff, you know, so
But it's
just
just
fun
something-
stuff.
yeah.
I like to do the fun stuff.
Well, yeah, I do, and it's, we like to introduce more of that.
Yeah.
But again, the spacing is an issue, but I
Yeah.
think we can handle that,
Yeah.
you know, definitely.
So I think, what you need to do is to go and get a talent bank application.
She did.
Oh, you have
She
the
already got
talent
it
bank?
done. Yeah, so,
Oh, and so you've submitted your talent bank.
no.
What did I
she-
submit? What did I thought I
Okay,
submitted
she
something.
did everything. So the only thing that she has a resume, she did everything. I just wanted her to see, I offered her to, I said, would you like to be on our board? Because she has a lot of
Right,
talent.
so did you submit your talent bank?
No, she hasn't done that yet.
Okay.
I have it. I wanted her to see if she'd like this group first. And then I wanted to see what she wanted to choose from from that going forward. But she will submit it downstairs
will,
to, she'll submit it to Pam.
Yeah, so you submit that to PM,
Okay,
and then I think the next meeting, we should interview you. Just because, just to keep things like straight with agendas and
Yeah,
things like
sure.
that, I'll put that on the agenda.
okay,
That the board interviews
okay.
you, because then we make a recommendation to the selectmen, and then you have to, I don't know if you have to go to the meeting, I know
You-
John
we
went to the
did.
meeting. So then
You had to
you'll
go
be
too,
called
right?
to a selectmen's
Oh,
meeting,
yeah.
and they'll just say, do you want to be on the boss line? It's very easy, and they're very nice, and so, yeah.
Great.
So I'll put on the agenda, so you get that talent bank submitted to PM.
Okay, what is it called, the talent?
You already have it.
Oh.
Yep, you're all done, you're in good shape. But here's a little list of, we haven't updated this one,
Yeah.
that's why I wanted, but, some other options. If
Oh,
you
all
say
right.
you didn't want to join this group, don't worry about it, there's other things you could do. And I think where you have so much talent, and
Right.
she brings new ideas, I thought it would be nice to be a part of our board.
It would be very nice.
But then again, I want you to feel comfortable
Yeah.
too, what you
Yeah.
choose.
Yeah,
But I just was trying to like fit you into spots that you might be interested in. And
Like
there's some
secretary.
choices. Nah, stop. Now you're pushing.
I know.
Now we will see, but it'll be nice.
Okay, so if you
I'm doing
submit your
Zoom.
talent bank form to PM across the way,
She will, I forget.
okay, to be on the COA board, I will put on the agenda that we interview you next
Okay,
If you
next
want.
meeting.
Okay.
If you want to,
okay.
but I think she's saying she wants to.
Yeah, and she might tell her, like, all right,
You know, I
too
moved
much
to
time.
Halifax and I.
No,
wanna
it's-
get-
it's
I wanna
great,
get,
and
you
she
know,
has
right
it.
Yeah.
in the winds, I'm right, I'll be able to watch the building being built.
Yeah, very nice.
And, yeah, it's.
Gotta bring a lazy chair.
Are we
I know,
gonna change the
yeah.
time to 10 permanently?
Oh yeah, that was the
Do
other
we
thing.
want
What
to
are we
change the
doing?
time to 10 permanently? We can vote on that right now, and then I will remember.
And then we'll call it a meeting.
So I forgot if we voted on that the last time. And I think we didn't, but whatever, let's vote on it. I'll call for a vote to change the time of the COA meetings. They'll be on the third Tuesdays of every month with a time change of 10 o'clock. And it'll be my responsibility to reserve this room for that time change.
Okay,
So, I make a motion to change the time of the meetings.
I second.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Ay, 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 ay. I'm Vito Bendito. I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to.
Question. Would it be
Bless you.
reasonable to ask
God bless you.
one of the people from that Gallup to come in and kind of talk to us about
That's right. Yeah,
how the
we
whole
did.
program works? And
Yep, we had one in before, and we had them come in. Even if they came in a Zoom, they could probably, yep.
Thank
Oh,
you.
God bless you. Yep.
Just I get kind of confused with all the stuff that's going on and what they do and what they don't do, and this one was this and that one's that.
Yeah, I don't really like to bring them just in by themselves. I'd like to have a board of selectmen, because they were the ones that, and the town administrator signed it.
Yeah.
They're the ones that signed it. They're the ones that legally are committed to that. And that's why we just present it. We, like an idea, here's an idea, and if them to do the research to do it, and if they choose to go that route, because they're familiar with the way it works, then that's what they do. So, but it's a decision that's made by the town and the board of selectmen. I think we should bring one of them in. Like this Lindsay, if you had questions of where the budget is, she said she'd be more than happy to chat with us as well.
So do you want me to put that on the agenda, or do you want to wait and set up the GATRA first, and then we can approach Lindsay or one of the
Yeah, I mean,
selectmen?
we can always, if that's what you want, your priority, whatever your priorities are.
Well, I think John just wants
Clarity.
to understand what what's going on with GATRA. We don't have to do it the next meeting, we can do it, following meeting, it's
Yeah.
whatever you feel comfortable
I
with.
think, program-wise, I think what we really need to understand too right now is how to focus on what we need to establish for our programs. And I think if you feel comfortable, obviously it must be, then this other thing is not a comfort level for you right now. Maybe we should just sort of talk about it then. But have the people that actually make the decision makers be involved with the questions, because they can answer them, how it's budgeted. And I think it would be wise to bring Lindsay if she has the time to chat about that. And also maybe somebody, when we start talking about things that we have no business to really be talking about, like I don't have any business to be talking about a committee that I'm not even a part of, and they're making the decision, but I can say, I like a bathroom.
So what
or I
are you
like
talking,
that.
which committee are you
So
talking about?
what I'm saying is get the people that are, if you have a question about a certain topic, get the people that are the vetted, that they're the ones that are making the decisions to put it into effect and sign off on it,
So do you,
the decision makers.
right, but should we approach GATRA and ask them to come and then coordinate with Lindsay?
I would approach it by, honestly, I would approach it by just asking, they are busy, okay? And GATRA can't be attending all these meetings because somebody has a question,
Right.
So what they do, and we have one, and he's on our board, there is a liaison for every GATRA, involvement that COA has. They have a liaison person within the town that is be able to go ask, you have questions, you go to the meeting.
So who is our liaison? You?
No,
No.
She doesn't know.
I do know. Of course I know. But I emailed that person to respond to me and say, are you going to be, so GATRA holds quarterly meetings. John has a question, he's a member in this department, he can go to the meeting, but he could also go to our liaison. I emailed our liaison, never answered me, okay? My point is, I want to make sure, I heard that this person who's on our board of selectmen, it's a board of selectmen, who is our liaison for GATRA. He's the one that we're supposed to be able to go to and ask questions. And he's the one that could answer maybe some of these questions and bring it to the committee meetings that they're having. So those are the things, but the person that I was told is the liaison has not responded. So I don't know if they even know that they're supposed to be there. And I'm like, why wouldn't they just answer my email? Then maybe their email's not working either. I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore. Every time you go to touch something, it's broken. And I can't fix everything, sorry. But all I can say is.
How about if we ask
we
GATRA
need
to
to-
come and do a presentation and invite that person to come along?
No, I don't think it's, I think we've already did that. It's a decision by the town. The town met with them, they did a presentation, okay? And it was decision. I think what is necessary is we have a liaison that was assigned to us. We need to reach out to that liaison. There are public meetings for GATRA, and when I get that quarterly public meeting, I'll give it to us. How about that? And it's up to us to either, maybe we can go to those meetings as a board instead of having a meeting and go to one of those meetings if that means so much to us to have that. And I don't know what questions, but the point
Or
is,
just one
we
of us could
do.
go, or-
Yeah, one.
Yeah.
But the point is, we should have that liaison. I have to know if that exists or not exists. Maybe they don't even know that they should be the liaison, but we do have one. Yeah. So that's all I'm gonna say right now. I won't say anything else.
Okay, oh my goodness, I'm gonna call this meeting adjourned at
I
12:07. Thank you.